Good morning and welcome to our makeshift greenhouse. We don't have a greenhouse currently. We have just moved on to this property, so you got to make do. And like you saw in the last video, we'll have full coverage here, and I'm only starting 2 different seeds today. Now when I get my seeds every year, I put what day I need to start them and when on my phone calendar, so I know exactly what I need to do. Today I'm starting onions and I'm starting rosemary, so come join me. Now, I've never been real successful in starting rosemary from seed, but I have been successful with In My Gardener seeds, and so I'm going to give it a try one more time. Now, what I've done is I'm not a real big fan of plastic, but when the neighbor was bringing us strawberries, which we didn't eat, we fed them to the chickens because we didn't know what was on them. Anyway, I saved these plastic containers because they have a humidity dome on them already. So if you get anything like this, save it. You might use it. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the tray with paper towel, put my seed starting mix inside, and I'm just going to broadcast my onion seeds. Now these will come up fairly thick, but I can get, there is 100 seeds in here. Yeah, no, 500. I can plant 500 seeds in 2 of these containers, giving me more real estate to start other seeds with. And then when they start growing, you'll pull the whole wad out and just kind of pull them apart by tickling the roots, and they come apart really easy. Now we did this in Nevada and we had onions growing everywhere. Also, if you have any kind of pressure from rabbits or we have groundhogs here that can be a problem. If you plant the onions around your garden area, that lettuce and your leafy greens that the rabbits love, this tends to keep them out, as well as the marigolds. So today we're planting rosemary and onion. The rosemary will need to go on a heat mat because it needs to stay at 80 degrees to sprout. And I'm not going to take anything for chance on the rosemary because we use a lot of rosemary, both culinary and medicinally. So in the tote, I have a potting soil mix. I don't always use seed starting mix. Onion seeds are fairly big, and so I don't really use the seed starting mix as much because it's a little bit more expensive. So what I'm going to do is wet this down somewhat and mix it up so that when I go ahead and put my seeds in, it's already pre-moistened, and this is going to take quite a bit of water, but it makes it easier to press your seeds in. And the onion seeds, a rule of thumb is with a seed, you want to plant it as deep as the seed is fat. So onion seeds are about a 1/4 inch or less, so you're going to just barely put them under the soil. Now the rosemary needs light to germinate, and those seeds are teeny tiny, and you're just going to press those into the surface. So on top of my potting soil, when I put it in the trays to plant, I will cover the potting soil with seed starting mix, which is much finer, and press my rosemary into the top. Now you'll want this potting soil just damp. You don't want to be able to squeeze water out like that. So I'll continue mixing this. You don't want your seeds to rot. And when it presses together and holds without water, it's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these trays.
Go ahead.
This is for the onions, and I've put paper towel in because they have some pretty deep holes in them, and I don't want them all over my wood floors. I'm going to give them about an inch or better of soil so that the roots can grow deep, because it's those roots you want to massage apart to plant. Now, when I put the lid down, it's made its own mini greenhouse, so it's pretty helpful to have these. They're fairly large, as you can see here. So I'm basically going to press them into the soil and then put a fine layer of potting mix on top. Now you can plant these in cells like this, but to me this is much easier, and real estate's at a premium here, so I don't want to do that. Oops, don't use that. I'm going, wait a minute, that's a different seed. I have rosemary coming up in my onions. I think I will. It does. Again, I'm just pushing down the seeds so they make contact with the soil. And then I'm going to put a fine layer, about a 1/4 inch more of potting soil on top. And those will get sprayed or misted in. I don't want to swamp them. I just want them to remain wet. Now this potting soil, as you watched, is pretty wet, and they'll probably be okay, but I am going to mist them a little bit to make sure that I get good germination. And you basically just shut the lid. That way you don't have to use a whole lot of water, and those are ready to go. I'm going to do a couple more. Whoa. Probably do quite a few more. There's still a lot of seeds in there. Yeah, I can do one more. Hang on, I gotta get more paper towel. Awesome. So one package of seeds got me 5 containers. This should take care of our onions for the year. This is the one thing we've been lacking in since we came to Kentucky. We've had to buy onions, and I really don't like buying onions. So we ended up with 6. Now, I'm going to plant these all through the garden to help with pest pressure. Like I told you, it works really good for that. And now to plant the rosemary. The rosemary I'm going to plant in these trays, and I'll probably put 2 seeds per cell to make sure I get germination. But I'm going to do a seed starting mix on top because these seeds are so tiny. When we moved into the other property, we had a ton of these seed starting trays. And yes, we brought everyone with us here. But they are open on the bottom, and we are working inside of a wooden house. I'd like to keep it nice, so I have some trash bags here, and I will cut those to put in the bottom of the seed trays to catch any overflow of water. You can use whatever you have. Use what's on hand. That's the whole thing. And that should catch any water that goes through. Then you'll use your seed starting trays, and I save them all. Even when they're broken, I will either double them up, or when I'm filling a big pot, I'll set them at the bottom of the pot and then put my potting soil in. That way I'm not using so much potting soil. It's so expensive. Now the seed starting mix is super fine, and that's why I'm putting it on top. The rosemary seeds you do not want to cover. They need light to germinate and warmth. Rosemary will not perennialize here. We're in zone 6B, and so usually I have to bring it in or cover it. It's a good one to put in a pot for me because I can put it in a greenhouse once we get one, or I can bring it inside. We get a lot of natural light up here, so it would do fine. See how tiny these seeds are? I'm going to do my best to try to just get 2 in each cell, but if they bunch up, it's fine. Rosemary's got some really tough roots, and it will do just fine. So you're just basically going to guess by feel. If you get 3 or 4 in there, it'll be okay.
That's all rosemary you're planting.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm just pressing them in, and these will get misted and put on a heat mat. And that's it. We've now planted our rosemary and onions for the season. I'm praying they do great because we need both very badly. So I hope you will go out, look up your growing zone. You can go to Farmer's Almanac and look up your growing zone. Put your zip code in. They'll tell you what your growing zone is if you do that. And then follow the instructions on the seed packet. Normally it tells you how many days to plant indoors. The back of the seed packet is full of information. Tells you whether you direct sow them, meaning that you're going to plant them directly outside, whether you sow them indoors, and this one was 12 weeks before our last frost. Also on Farmer's Almanac, they'll tell you when your average last frost date is, and you'll just count backwards from there. put it on a calendar, or you can put it on your phone like I do, whatever. But it'll tell you when to start growing. Now, I could plant peppers in here and hope to get a good harvest early. However, it's way too early for me because I'm in zone 6B. But go ahead and get your hands dirty. Play in the dirt. Playing in the dirt is fun. So I hope you try this out. I hope you grow your own herbs and vegetables and fruits, and then learn to put them up. Now this year, we don't need to plant any tomatoes. We've got plenty of pasta sauce and tomatoes in the pantry. You can see the picture over here. We'll put up a picture of these things. We don't need any cabbage. We have tons of coleslaw, so those things aren't going to be planted this year for us. We don't need any pickles. I usually make my pickles out of zucchini, and if you've ever planted zucchini, you know that if you have one plant, you can feed the whole neighborhood. We do have some pest pressure here with squash bugs, but we do plant a lot of pumpkins. The chickens love them, and we are planning on planting for our livestock. There's certain things. I don't need any more pepper sauce. If you've watched any of our older videos, I got enough pepper sauce for 2 years, and I've got 4 gallons fermenting downstairs now. So I have plenty of those. The one thing I am going to be planting is jalapenos because I love cowboy candy, and we're completely out. We go through that stuff like nobody's business. So don't plant anything that your family's not going to eat. We don't eat a lot of radishes. My grandson loved pickled radishes. Me, not so much. We don't plant a lot of, we don't plant okra at all. We don't like it. We've tried it freeze-dried. We've tried it fried. We've tried it boiled. We don't like it. So there is no reason for me to take up that real estate on this property. So plant what you're going to eat. Plant what your family likes. Don't waste your real estate on things that you're not going to eat. And preserving food takes a long time. So you don't want to waste your time and energy on that. So you know what you like. You know what your family likes. Go ahead and plant that. Or storage crops like beans. This year we're planting a lot of beans. So, you know, those things will store in a 5-gallon bucket with a Gambian lid on top for quite a while. You can also can those. So get your hands dirty. Do some research. It's out there. It's all over YouTube. It's all over Pinterest. And go ahead and be a rebel. Plant what you want to plant. I'm a rebel in the kitchen. I'm a rebel in the garden. So just try it. You never know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until we see you next time, thank you, God bless, and bye-bye.